Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest is an old friend of the show. I consider him a friend of mine, but you know, we both like to argue, so I got him on here to talk about the Robby Robinson fiasco. Jerry Ward, welcome to the show.
Dave, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man.
No, it's my pleasure. Now, I just want to start, before we get into the whole Robby Robinson affair, I want to just say that I actually like your channel. I don't watch everything you do because I don't have that time to do it, but I watch, if I see a video that interests me, I watch it. And I just think you're real. I like your delivery. You know, you don't do any fancy editing. You kind of just say what's on your mind. And I think that's why people like your channel. And I like it. I don't think you're full of crap. There's a lot of guys out there that have a big following and they think are full of crap and they're phony. So props to you on that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. I don't really know how to do anything different than just kind of be myself. And I found like a lot of times the things that I say, a lot of people are already thinking, but they're scared to say it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure why, if the general consensus or the collective conscious thinks a certain way, people just kind of keep it closed off, but that's just kind of my thing.
Yeah. You know, I pretty much am pretty much the same way. I'm pretty much open book about what I think. Sometimes I filter a little bit and if it was 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have filtered it. There's some stuff I filter because I start to think about people who have kids and stuff like that, and I start to think about that. But other than that, I'm pretty brutal on people. Let's go over what happened with Robby Robinson. So Robby, a friend of his who was a former client of mine, Chad, reached out to me, whatever it was, a couple months ago. We all know that Robby has this ongoing sickle cell anemia, which means his red blood cells don't work well, and that, every once in a while, sometimes once a week, maybe twice a week, he has to go and get blood transfusions. When they put fresh blood into him, it enables his body to oxygenate properly and function well. And obviously, as you get older, you're less tolerant of these sickle cells. And evidently, that's something that his veterans, benefits don't cover. He has to put this money out of his pocket. So it had come to my attention via this guy, Chad, who's friends with him, and I know Chad is a solid guy, that Robby was having money issues. And, he was in the hospital, so he wanted to start a GoFundMe. So Robby didn't start it, Chad started it. He put a moderate, amount of money. I guess he just arbitrarily picked, I think, $7,000 to raise. And I went and put it out there, did a video, and I said, everyone, look, you got to donate. The guy's he's been in our sport for 100 years, and this is a guy that we want to show, our gratitude toward. So I think they raised like 15 grand, and you had talked about it as well. And all of a sudden, I noticed that Robby on his Instagram had put up something about the fact that if all his followers would donate $1 to him, he would have $75,000 raised in 2 seconds. And I know you did a video on it. Now, I'm going to let you take off how you interpreted this post and where you went with it from this point on, and then I'll follow up with my interpretation of what went on.
Well, first of all, it's not even about the post, you know what I mean, or about the GoFundMe page. It's not that about that at all. Like, if people donate to him, that's great. They want to help him out, that's great. I literally have zero problem with it. The problem I had was how, and you used the word grateful a minute ago, how ungrateful Robby was just in that one post. And I was like, holy shit. So like, Dave, let's just say you and I, you come to me and say, Jerry, my son needs this surgery, man. And without this surgery, like, he might never walk again or something. I need $10,000.
Right.
I was like, holy shit. And I had 10 grand. I said, Dave, here, and I give it to you. Dave, here's $10,000 here. Right. And you'd be like, oh, okay, like, wait, are you sure? But the next thing out of your mouth would be, thank you so much. I know it would be. That's just the kind of guy you are. Sure. Like, you're the type of person who's grateful, right? Not one thank you out of Robby anywhere after he raised that money. Nothing. To this day, there's still not a single thank you up anywhere. There's complete ungratefulness going on in that one post. And then it went on to, there was another post that he put up, and it was when he first went in the hospital. I think someone else actually posted that he was in the hospital on his Instagram. Yeah. And then he's actually trying to sell products underneath it. And underneath it, if you look, there's people that he's sold products to that he still hasn't sent the products in over 6 months. They get no response back from emails, nothing from Instagram, nothing. And I'm like, so here's a guy that technically was selling stuff, never sent the stuff out. They create the GoFundMe page, which wasn't his, and he gets more than what he asked for, and he still doesn't say thank you. Like, I can't even comprehend that, dude.
Yeah. My interpretation of that, and I've talked to Robby on the phone about, several times. It's funny because I'll text him, I won't hear anything, and then I'll call him and he picks up the phone. Robby really reminds me a lot of my dad, and some older people that I talk to. You got to remember, he's in his 70s. My dad got to a point in life where, he had no filter on anything he said. He basically, whatever was in his head, it came out. And his view of the world kind of changed from when I remember him as a younger man, raising me. He became a little disgruntled. He just got sick of everyone. He didn't want to deal with any bullshit. He was very negative. And I kind of get that impression from Robby. I feel like Robby, donated, not donated, but devoted his life to bodybuilding, put his heart and soul into it. And no one made him do that, obviously. And I feel like he feels like at this point in his life, he's an older man, and I don't know, there's nothing he doesn't have a lot to show for it other than, the trophies that he got. And I think he's a little disgruntled about that. And I can relate to it, but I understand what you're saying. He didn't express gratitude, which he should have, because when you express gratitude, you attract more, more abundance in your life. And I think that's what the issue is here.
Absolutely. I mean, like you just said, like your dad had no filter. And, maybe Robby has no filter, but the point is the people that donated are actually taking care of him, saving his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't take, any skin off his back or any real energy to say, you guys just donated, I got my treatment, thank you. That's not about being, changing 100%. As you see the world. It's like, they just saved my life. Imagine someone saving your life, Dave. How grateful would you be?
Yeah.
And now they're donating more money, and he's still putting stuff out about wanting more money. And I'm like, listen, he doesn't have much to show for it because he didn't do the business of bodybuilding. Right. He didn't capitalize on it. While Arnold was out there taking acting classes and working a job and competing and doing all that shit, and Frank Zane had his, his products he was selling, and everybody, what's his name? Corny, he was working at a nightclub, or he owned a nightclub. Robby was out there living the lifestyle on the beach, fucking around, doing the shit he was doing, and now he's paying for it, right? Which I understand, like, that's 100% his fault, right? But again, throw it all aside. It's not even about what he did or didn't do. I don't care if he made $1 billion, he made no dollars. It's not about that. It's about human beings stepped up to take care of another human being because they saw him in need. And literally to just sit there and be like, I want more, I'm going to take my social media down. Like, the things he was saying wasn't disgruntled. It was just plain a slap in the face to the people that are trying to help him. I mean, let's say he came out with his video and he said, he made a video instead. He put up a video and he says, this is Robby Robinson. Guys, listen, I made some bad choices when I was younger. Sickle cell anemia is kicking my ass right now. I'm totally broke. I need your guys' help. Please, please help if you can spare anything. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for saving my life. I would have donated $1,000 to him. I literally would have cut him a check for $1,000 like that. No questions asked.
Yeah.
But that's not who he is. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. What you put out there is what you get back. 99.9% of people agreed with me. I stayed away from the comment section of the video because I thought for sure I was going to get torn up.
Yeah.
And even in your own comment section, they were just completely, a few people didn't, obviously, but you were agreeing with me. And I was just like, well, that just to show that the general person that reads that saw what I saw. You know what I mean?
Right. But this is how I interpret it. Because I would take my dad out, to the doctor's office. And I would, go over to get him. He's like, get me a drink. So I would go get him a drink of water. While I'm getting him a drink of water, he's telling this woman next to him how my son does diets. You should really enlist him because you're grossly overweight. And I mean, totally embarrassing. He's telling the ex-Marine that the flag on his shirt was disrespectful because they changed no filter. So I understand where Robby's at in his life. He's a little disgruntled, but I agree with you. But that doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. But so what my take on the whole thing was, rather than blast Robby on social media and say what a scumbag he is and call him names, I ignore him. If you don't want to give money to him, don't give money to him. If people feel bad for him or they feel like they want to support Robby because he was an icon in the sport and he was one of the pioneers, you can give money to him. And I understand the analogy Robby made, but he didn't articulate it correct. He obviously is not good at writing. He obviously has grammar issues and spelling issues, and that we don't know what his educational background is, obviously. But he was trying to say that if all my followers on Instagram, everyone who comes on all the time, follows my pictures, asks me for questions that I answer, via private message, if everyone gave me just $1, I wouldn't even have any money issues. And, it came off maybe as like, not grateful. And you're right, I never heard him put up something saying, hey, thank you for all my follows, which you really should have.
It's been a while since you got the money. You're still getting the money and still not a single.
Yeah, I know, but obviously the guy needs it. And you know what? Like I said, if people want to donate, great. If you think Robby's a scumbag and you don't like him, then don't give any money to him. I just don't think it's good karma or good energy to put out there to ridicule and put Robby down and to say that Robby's this and Robby's that and he's illiterate. And, you know, he's an older guy and he's obviously has, you know, his faculties are not as good as they were when he was younger. And I think we have to, in that sense, forgive him. And if you don't want to support him, don't. If you do, then do. That was what my video really was trying to say.
Well, here's the thing is, I don't really care whether it was Robbie Robinson or someone else. It wasn't like I was looking to mess with Robbie Robinson.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Every day, Dave, myself, and I'm sure you're the same way, we try to be better every day. Right. Not just better at work with our families, better human beings, grateful human beings. And
some people do.
I mean, to me, that's my goal, though. My goal is literally to be better at the
That's your goal and my goal, but not necessarily everyone else's goal.
Right, and that's what people tune in to see. They tune in to see me see the truth. That I found that video, he put it out there public. It's not like someone said something to me in passing and I let the cat out of the bag. Like, it was plain and simple. And the thing, Dave, was it's already in the forums before I said a word. The forums that get big and stuff, it was blowing up in there and everybody's like, what, a scumbag? So I'm like, what is the deal? So I went and researched it first.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? That's true. Like, that's 100% true. And like, it wasn't like I was trying to put down Robby or whatever, but let's face facts, man. A guy who gets up to $21,000 right now for free because he did something in a sport. Let's face facts, Dave. He competed because he loved to compete. He lived that lifestyle because he loved it. The sport doesn't owe him a thing. Neither do the fans, no matter how old he is or what he did. Nobody owes him shit.
Right.
He's responsible for himself. Personal responsibility, which is missing nowadays. You know, as far as him being 70, my example for an old man, my grandfather died at 94. He stopped working at 92. He was a farmer. He was literally digging on his hands and knees at 92 years old, farming. And a week before he died, he was on his exercise bike in his living room watching TV so he can keep his legs strong and had that stupid Thigh Master thing so he can do pecs with the Thigh Master and this. So that was my 94-year-old grandfather. Right. When people say 70s, like my dad passed away when he was 70, but he still had all his wits about him, and I'm sure he was jaded like that too and stuff. But my dad, my grandfather, the people around me, people in general in Robby's situation that get helped out are grateful. And you have to take a step back, and it's not just about trying to, you know, tarnish Robby's name. It was about to put out information that's real, that everyone was thinking, and no one was talking. They were hiding in forums talking about it. Nobody put anything in the open. But instead of this being a learning lesson for Robby going, wait, what did I do? He turned around and said, I was the asshole. He never once looked at himself and said, why would people think this?
Right.
And look at it and say, well, this was wrong. All right, guys, listen, I was wrong to do this. I'm sorry. You know what? This was really stupid, but it's not how I truly feel. I was just upset. I'm sorry. Nothing. Not I'm wrong, not thank you. It's like he literally is banking on the fact that he won a Masters Olympia years ago, and that makes him a legend. Now, here's the problem I have also, David. So many people stick up for Robby. Those are the same people that when Phil Heath says something wrong, they lose their shit over it.
Yeah.
They go, well, Robby's a legend. Phil Heath has 7 Mr. Olympia titles, undefeated 7 times, tied with Arnold. Phil says, I don't like the weather today. People lose their shit. It's the same people sticking up for Robby.
The difference is that Phil's, 40 years old. Robby's 71. And you know what? I learned from Wayne Dyer, sometimes it's better to be kind than to be right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
but
that's
it's the same people, Dave. The same people that will say Robby gets a pass will say, fuck Phil. I'm like, you guys can't be double-edged like that. You have to choose either when someone says something shitty, you agree that whether they're 70 or 40 or you like them or hate them, they're wrong, or they're not wrong. It's just
no, but it's not about sometimes. But sometimes you got to just be kind, and I think Robby needs more kindness in his life than he needs people telling him that he's wrong or that he's an asshole or anything like that. I just think you have to pick,
remember you get what you put out. So
yeah, but you got to pick who you're dealing with, and you have to evaluate it. Everyone doesn't fit into the same category, just like you don't give everyone the same diet, right?
Right, but also you got to go back and look at, since this came up, the numerous emails and messages I got from people around Robby that do not like him because he's not nice to them. And that's people that have been around him for a while. You know?
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes the people that are not nice and the people in our industry that have a bad reputation and who have a bad attitude towards things, they need the kindness. They don't need people.
I agree with
you add more negativity to them, you're just fueling their negativity.
But they don't get a pass, Dave, not for that shit. If you're doing a shitty thing, you don't get a pass just because you need kindness. Let's face facts. Offline, we don't know what Robby Robinson gets for kindness. We're only seeing what's happening right now. And first of all, if he's nice to you, Dave, you can do something for him. He needs people like Dave Palumbo. Right. He needs people like these other people because you got RXMuscle. So the guy that goes up to him in the gym, which contacted me and said, I brought my belt to him while he was done training, standing at Goldstone, Venice, talking. And I waited for him to finish talking, and I said, can I please get you signed my belt, Mr. Robbins? He said, not now. Turn around and walked out the fucking door. It would have taken him 1 second. This is what the real deal is happening, you know?
Look, I would have stayed there all day signing belts because that's just who I am. But I know there's a lot of movie stars that are like that too. That would be a 5-year-old kid could ask them and they'll turn their back and walk away.
And I would absolutely disdain them for it too. I would damn them for the same exact thing. I call them a scumbag and tell them they suck too, man. It's not. I'm not choosing Robbie Robinson. I don't know him. You know what I mean? Like if I had met him and I knew him, maybe something would be different. But let's face facts. What happened in that first post and what has transpired afterwards? Like Robbie says, well, I don't say anything. If I don't have anything nice to say about anybody, I don't say it at all. You just called me an asshole. Like none of his words and actions are matching up to say that he's a good guy, that he appreciates what's going on, and he's grateful. Nothing. So let's take all the legend talk.
You did call him a scumbag, though, right?
Absolutely. That's a scumbag move. I don't care who it is.
I mean, if I did it. I'm sure back in the day, Robbie would have fucking tried to kick your ass for doing that. I mean, if he was sick, if he was 40 years old.
Scumbag move, Dave, I want you to make a video that day being Derry Ward's fucking scumbag because he did this. I want you to do that. And I want you to call everybody you know and have everybody make one. Because if I'm a scumbag, I want to be called on it so that I know I did it. So that either I can say, yeah, I'm a fucking scumbag, or I can change and do something better. Like, I'm not saying that I'm better than Robbie. Fuck no. If I do something wrong, you guys call me on that shit. You know, absolutely.
I just, look, I wouldn't have taken the same approach, and I don't agree with you on that. I agree with you that, look, everything you're saying is accurate in essence, but I don't think that you approached it the right way given who Robbie Robinson is as a person, what he's done in bodybuilding, and where he's at mentally at this stage of his life. That's what I don't agree with.
How's anybody going to know where he's mentally at? No, he doesn't talk about where he's mentally at. So you know what? I got to go with what information I have. But who cares if he's a legend? He's a fucking human being treating other human. That's the thing. Is everybody puts these guys up on pedestals. If you talk to Dorian Yates, he's not going to act like that. If you talk to Lee Haney, they're not going to act like that. Why? Because they're good human beings. And that's what it's all about, Dave. It's not about bodybuilding. Fuck bodybuilding. It's about the way you treat other people. And let's face facts. Robbie has had opportunity after opportunity to capitalize on a lot of shit that nobody else, well, not nobody else, but a lot of people won't have. He didn't capitalize on it. He's probably bitter about that. That's fine. But the people that gave him money, $5,000 someone donated him in one shot.
Yeah.
That is absolutely absurd that you wouldn't thank people publicly when you're asking for money publicly. You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. And again, it's like, it's not about legend status and all this bullshit. It's about if you're a human being that fucking needs help and other human beings step up when they don't even know you because you posted on a platform 20 years ago, and they gave you money to save your life, you damn well better shake somebody's hand and go to an expo and fucking talk to them, or at least say thank you to everyone. A very nice, grateful post that lets people know that they weren't, I don't want to say cheated, but they were at least appreciated for what they did.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you in that. I agree with you in that. I think that it's very important to always appreciate that anyone who's stepping up to you, because you know what? He'll probably need more help in 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And if you want people to keep supporting you, it's nice to show appreciation for what you do. So in that sense, I do agree with you that he should do that, but that doesn't mean he has to do it because he's his own person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what happens is that doesn't mean I have to keep my mouth shut if he doesn't do it either. You do scumbag shit, you're going to get called on it. And this face facts. Nowadays, everybody's too worried about upsetting somebody. I don't give a fuck, Dave. I mean, you've said it before. The truth is the truth. When I've seen you talk about things on RXMuscle, say, well, I know this is really sucks, but it's the truth, right? I mean, that's what people want. They don't want lies. They don't want bullshit. They want the truth.
Right. Well, I think the truth is important, but I think at the same time that, you know, once again, I evaluate who I'm dealing with. If I was dealing, and I don't want to, this is not a good analogy because Robbie's not retarded or doesn't have any kind of mental deficiency in the sense that, you know, he can't comprehend what's going on. But I wouldn't speak to a mentally handicapped person, you know, the way I would argue with, say, you or someone else on social media, because I know you have all your faculties. So I can logically have a conversation and debate with you because I know that you can understand and comprehend what I'm saying. So, you know, I don't think Robbie is as sharp as he was when he was younger. And I think that's why I think for what you're doing, it's just not right. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree, man. Honestly, I really don't care what. You know, and I agree with you. You got to know who you're dealing with. But here's the deal. Robbie Robinson gets on Instagram posts every day. Looks fine to me.
Yeah.
Nobody's running around talking about how he's 7 years old and he's out of it. Everybody talks about, oh, well, I saw Robbie Robinson. He was totally with it. He punked me off and treated me like an asshole. You're the only one that I've heard say, oh, he's not really with it anymore. And you know what? Let's face fact. If that's an excuse, then he should not be on social media posting stuff that people can misrepresent and go after him for. If that bothers him, you know, like there's other people on social media that post stuff and you're like, how the fuck are they doing that? And you're like personal responsibility. You have to accept responsibility for when you do shit.
I agree.
If you're not with it,
you know what?
Like then have somebody take care of your posts so that you're not posting stupid shit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Jerry. I agree with you in the sense that if he's going to go on social media and he's going to have a persona there and interact with the fans, which he does, he gives advice and he interacts, he should definitely be accountable for what he says. So in that sense, I have to agree with you. I do have to agree with you.
Is it really him on social media, or is it somebody else doing the social media?
No, I think it's him because you can tell by the way he's writing the posts that it's
right.
him.
That's what I was going to say because you said something in a post yesterday. I'm taking it back from the person that was doing it. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's written the same way. Like, I don't think he understands when he writes it looks a certain way, like we all do. You know, like, and then when he writes it saying, "Oh, it wasn't me," I'm like, well, that upsets me because I'm like, now you're trying to backpedal and say it wasn't you, when realistically, 100% it was you, and you're trying to change that. I'm like, okay, I called you a scumbag for the not, thanking people, but now you're trying to lie and get out of what you did. Why not just come out and say, look, I made a bad statement. I'm sorry, guys. I'm turning over a new leaf. Let's crush this together, and just start over and say, I'm starting over, but that hasn't, and maybe it will happen. Like the best thing that happens is when people get confronted with themselves is they learn from it and say, I didn't realize I was being like that. Maybe he'll watch this, but his first reaction was to fire back at me and call me an asshole and not really even look at what he wrote. If he looks at what he wrote and thinks that there's nothing wrong with it, well, that just goes to show you where his frame of mind is. It's not a 70-year-old thing. It's an I don't give a shit. I'm owed this money. Please give, well, not please, but give to me because I am a legend of the sport. I don't have anything. I need it. And that's, like I said, you never see Arnold do that. You ever see any of the greats do that because those people take personal responsibility and appreciate. I mean, how many times, Dave, you'd be walking someplace and someone stops you for a picture or a handshake? I mean, doesn't that make you feel good? You're like, oh, thank you for stopping me. We're lucky to have people following us and paying attention.
No, I agree with you. Look, I think what you made, the one statement you made just now was completely great. That Robbie should get on his Instagram, make a video, and especially after he hears this video, and say, look, you know what? Let's start over. I think you guys got the wrong opinion of me.
I would love to. I would absolutely do like a Skype with him and say, hey, let's squash all this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's where you at now. You know what I mean? Like I'm not again. Like I don't believe that people just stay bad for the rest of their life. Yeah. Maybe he has been wired a certain way because he's bitter now, but you don't have to live the rest of. He's getting older. You don't have to live the rest of your life being bitter. You can be happy, and you have people around you taking care of you. That should make you happy. Right. You know what I mean? That people still give a shit about you and want to help you. You know,
my dad's answer to that when he was alive would have been, cut out this crappy cockamamie psychology 101 bullshit on me. That's what that would be his answer. But my dad was 88 and was demented, so that was my dad. But I know what you're saying. It's not too late. Robbie, just let's wash all this under the bus. Start over. Express your appreciation. The fans love you. They want to love you. Love them back. That's really what the message is.
That's all it takes. Give and take. Give them what they're giving you. They're giving you love. They're giving you your life because you're going to die without these treatments. Yeah. Just give them that respect and that love back. Yeah. And his social media is going to blow up. People are going to pay attention. They're going to want him to help him even more. You know why? Because they love him. But if he's treating them like shit, I mean, his own fans were on his Instagram tuning him up because they were upset about it. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't believe it when I read it in Get Big. I thought it was a joke because you can't believe everything in Get Big that's happening. Yeah. So I was like, whatever. I think it's a Photoshop. It's bullshit. I couldn't believe it. Then when he called me an asshole, I read the whole thing. I went back. He didn't even take the other one down. Like, he agreed with what he said was okay. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. It's not about, he kind of made it about the GoFundMe page. That's not what it was about. It was about how he treats people in general that give to him,
I agree with you. Jerry, what's with the hair all of a sudden?
So every once in a while. So I think the last time I let it grow out was like 2012, I think.
Why do you shave your head? You have hair.
So it's thin. My hair is thin. So I didn't really like it thin, and it's very gray. This is dyed. Right?
No, I can tell. I know you did the Dave Palumbo dye job. Although I got the tattooing done now, so I don't dye my hair anymore.
I saw that. Yeah. So I let it grow out a little bit, and I kept feeling like the stubble, and I'm like, look, I'm 43. How much longer am I going to have it to begin with? Let me see what's left. And I usually grow it out. So I grew it out. It was looking okay. I'm like, well, while we're out there, let's kind of keep it like that. It's just kind of like where I'm evolving now. You have the shaved head. I like it for a while. I shaved my head in high school.
I like the hair.
I go back and forth.
I like the hair.
What's that?
I like the hair.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Especially since you have it. Definitely embrace it.
Well, that's another thing. I figured once it's still there, as long as it's still there, let's do it because I might have no options in the future.
I think Jerry wants a GoFundMe campaign to pay for his hair dye and to keep his hair to keep his hair working. Turn around. Let me see your
really thin in the back.
Bend over. Let me see your bald spot. You got a bald spot? No, you got hair.
It's in the back. Back here, it's like real thin.
You got good hair. What are you talking about? What are you, nuts?
It's like if you look at it, like it's because the hair dye makes it look darker.
No, I know. I did the whole thing too, but it looks perfect though.
It looks all right. I mean, like I said, I've always had. When I was a kid, I had a Brillo pad for a head. It was so like thick and wavy that my mom was like, "You'll never have to worry about being bald." Well, fast forward, it's taking steroids and stuff. By the time I'm 25, it was going pretty thin. Yeah. You know, so I was like, well, you know, I would shave it, let it grow in, grow a faux hawk, like grow a beard, shave my beard. And I kind of go through different stages. Like whatever I feel like that day, I just kind of do.
No, you got
good hair. Always been my way.
Embrace it, man.
But like it's just very easy to shave your head, and I was just like, let me just see what's left, and we'll see how it goes for a little while.
You don't want to look like another stereotypical bodybuilder. Come on, man, grow some hair.
Well, that's another thing is I'm not competing anymore. I'm not like, I'm living the lifestyle still, but it's like I'm not getting on stage, so I don't really have to worry about, does my hair look okay? Just comb it back, and we're good for the day. You know,
well, Jerry, thanks for coming on the show and talking to me about Robby. And like I said, love what you're doing, and I know you always give us props on your channel, so you know, everything's all good.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you letting me come on here. And, you know, anytime that you guys ever wanted to be on here, you just let me know. Because I love RXMuscle. I love you guys. Yeah. And it's all good, man. Like, like I said, I don't even hate Robby or anything like that. I said the scumbag word, but doesn't mean I don't love him. Yeah. It's just the way that I speak. You know what I mean?
Maybe Robby will watch the show and turn over a new leaf.
We can only hope, man.
All right, guys, that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo with Jerry Ward. We'll see you next time.